look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait.
There was nothing wrong technically with either of us, and in a way that made it worse because I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me and there's nothing wrong with you, and the guy was like, it's just unexplained infertility. You've got stage 3 breast cancer. It's super advanced, it's super aggressive. We've already spoken to your obstetrician. You basically have to have this baby tomorrow, and you probably will need chemo within a week.
This episode of United Motherhood is proudly brought to you by Janaea. Janaea has a holistic approach to fertility. If you or someone you know is struggling with fertility, get in touch. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm sending you all so much love. Sally is mama to 2 awesome little ladies. Together we dive into her journey this far: surrogacy, IVF, the what ifs, starting a business, and so much more. Let's get into it. We just sat down with beautiful Maha, who's your sister.
Yep.
And your bestie and soul sister, from what I can tell.
Totally.
So I feel we know a little bit about you, but let's go back to little baby Sally. Tell us what you were like growing up.
I was a goody two-shoes.
So was I. I was a straighty 180.
Yeah, totally. I was a goody two-shoes. I never wanted to upset anyone. I never wanted to do the wrong thing.
Are you the oldest?
Yes, I'm the oldest, yep. I felt like I kind of had to pave the way for Maha. Like I feel like she had things a lot easier than me, and I was kind of a bugbear. You know, I felt like Mum and Dad had these rules, and then by the time kind of it was Maha's turn, they didn't apply, and I was like, oh, this is terrible, you know.
Oldest child, that was my family as well. And I was like you, straighty 180, and my poor sisters had a shocking time though because they weren't.
Yes.
And so my parents had to deal with like the sneaking out. And they're like, what is this? What is this?
Yeah, Zoe never did this.
No.
What's going on?
So it's funny. And your teenage years, falling off stools.
Do you know my teenage years were pretty much the same. I was a goody two-shoes. I did my homework. I didn't really go out. I had a handful of friends. I got kind of bullied a lot at school when I was younger, so I was always kind of quite self-conscious of I would call it not taking up too much space is kind of the best way that I would put it. You know, I kind of want to make sure I didn't stand out too much, flew below the radar. I was not overly bright, I was not overly sporty, I was not overly musical, I was not overly arty, I was not overly anything. I was just, I came, I did my work, I tried to stay, you know, kind of...
I'm sure you were, I'm sure just with... But that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Like you were bullied and you had this...
Yeah, it was, but when things happen to you young enough, they just become the norm. So you learn to kind of.
Were you happy as a child?
I was very happy at home. I hated school. I was very happy at home. Yeah, but very happy home life.
And your sister, were you always close?
Yeah, we were always close. I think we've had a funny period. I think from say like. You know, say she's 9 or 8 and I'm 13, you know, I'm into now like bands.
Puberty.
I care about hair and makeup, and she wants to play Barbies, and I'm like, you know, you're kind of, but because home was such a sanctuary for me away from school, that I loved having, like when it was school holidays, it was only her and I. We don't have a big extended family, so it's not like it was all the cousins or anything. There was only her and I, so it was just like you have like 6 weeks off, and it was just her and I all the time. And I think we're really close, and that kind of stayed, I think pretty much our whole life. But I think since having cancer, children and the business, I think we have become much, much, much closer.
Yeah, we were just talking before the camera turned on, Maha and I, and the relationship you guys have is something I've never seen before. And I feel like I brush shoulders with a lot of people in business and in life, not just through Business Chicks, because a lot of stuff I do is through Business Chicks, but I've never felt it. Like you genuinely love each other so much.
So much.
And the love she has for your girls.
Oh, and the love they have for her.
It's insane.
It's the best. It's so beautiful. And you know, Marcus, my husband, is in this business with us as well. And the love
Did not
he
know that.
has. Oh,
did not know that.
He works with us. And the love he has for her. You know, the other day goes to me, goes, I love being in business with Maha. She's just a force for good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that those 3 words sum it up perfectly. She's a force for good.
And I love, like, you can feel the energy that you guys have such a beautiful relationship. So it's amazing. If you're out there, it does exist.
Yes, it does exist. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I'm trying to foster that, you know, in my girls, you
Yeah.
know. And like I found it annoying when my mum was always like, she'll be your best friend and, you know, be nice to her. And I was like, oh. But
I'm saying that to my kids.
I'm
hoping.
I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to try and... I swore I would never do all the things my mum did, and here I am doing all the things my mum did.
But you guys turned out all right, so she did something.
She did a great job.
She did something really well.
My mum and dad, I do think, did a good job.
And the age gap with you and Maha, is it similar to your girls?
Yeah, it's 5 years. Yeah, same as the girls.
And your Marcus? Love of your life.
Yes.
Didn't even know he was behind the scenes of Swish.
Yeah,
I had
he works
no
with us.
idea.
He has worked with us for the last, so not from the beginning, but maybe in the last 2.5 years he's been working with us. It's been awesome.
Your family's like this.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Pretty cool.
Which
and you still love each other.
Yeah, I know, and we all still get along. And
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is we have healthy debate is probably, but no one takes anything personally. I have heaps of ideas Maha says no to. She has heaps of ideas I say no to. We have heaps of disagreements. We both have disagreements with Marcus. He has disagreements with us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no one takes anything personally. No one's got any ego about it. And we're all here because we're actually here to serve our customer.
Yeah.
We're here for her.
You're for the right reasons.
Yes.
And Marcus, how did you guys meet?
Do you know what? It was a blind date that went wrong. So my good friend Jack said, I know this. I set him up with a girl, and then he said, I must repay the favor. I know this awesome guy, and I think he'll be perfect for you. He's a lawyer, and I was like, yes!
Ticking all the boxes. Where has he been?
And it was like in the era of A Few Good Men. And I was like, totally. I'm going. This is great. So he says, I'll have these drinks at my house, and he'll come. And I was like, awesome. And then we're there, and he says, oh, by the way, my mate is bringing this other mate of his who we also used to work with at an accounting firm. We all used to work together. So I was like, perfect. So the door knocks. And I was like, let me have a look. I'll look through the peephole, right? So I look literally.
Take your
pick.
pick.
I know. And I look through, and I'm like, oh my God, the guy on the right is so my type. And then Jack looks through, and he's like, ooh, the setups with the guy on the left. And I was like, but Marcus was the guy on the right. Anyway.
Or the guy on the left
I
that
know.
you're watching.
But we're all still great friends.
That's so cool.
He opened the door, and of course, it's awkward because the setup doesn't like me. He ends up marrying this blonde girl. And we're all still, after 18 years or 19 years, besties.
That's the best. I love that.
Yeah, it's really funny. And yeah, it was pretty much, I don't know if it was quite love at first sight, but it was definitely besotted at first sight.
Well, looking through the peepholes, you thought he was pretty cute.
Yeah, I was like, so my type's perfect. And we got engaged 6 months later and married 6 months after that.
Stop. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. And speaking of like getting married, I feel like once you get married, everyone's like, when are you having kids?
Yes,
And
yes.
to have your beautiful Annabelle.
Well, you know, it was
was a
funny
journey.
because after we got married, we were like, we'll just have a couple of years. But Marcus got sick, he got Bell's palsy. And it's like kind of like a stroke on the side of your face. And it really kind of, we were in the first year of being married, and it was really quite a full-on time. It was pretty stressful. It was very... it's a lot for a new couple to go
I get
through.
emotional. I get emotional over everything at the moment.
It's full on because
Yeah.
it's sort of, I don't know, it was really hard. It was really hard to watch him be sick. But we got through that. And then we're like, okay, let's have another we'll have a little bit of a break and we won't try. And then I wanted to change careers. So I was like, okay, why don't we put it on hold? It'll be really easy, it's fine.
What were you doing, can I ask?
I worked in finance. I worked at Bankers Trust. I'd spent my whole life.
You and Maha have literally done
Yes.
360.
I know, completely.
So cool.
And I just was, one day I said, I really want to work in TV. And Marcus was like, oh, we'll go for it. Like, you don't want to ever have a dream and die wondering. But
Clearly your biggest cheerleader. That's
yeah,
the
he
best.
really was. He really was. Him and Maha were big cheerleaders. And even though at times I think they were like, are you sure? Like,
What the hell is she doing?
Yeah, I don't know if you can really start a new career at that age and you don't have any contacts and you've got no
Can I
skills.
ask how old you were? Because
So
people...
I was 30. I was 30 when I decided, oh, do you know what? And I left my job. I'm going to start and I'm going to try. And I was 34 or 33 and a half, 34 before I actually got a job that paid. For 4 years, I did I was like a maniac.
Yeah.
I studied personal training and studied Pilates, and I became an Pilates instructor and a personal trainer, and I set up a whole business on the side. I did 2 years of a naturopathy degree and a Bachelor of Science because that was my plan C.
Yeah.
I was like, in case I don't get into TV and I can't be a personal trainer when I'm 50, then I'll become a naturopath because I loved wellness.
But now look,
I
like
know.
we're going to get into this, but it's all come full.
It's all come full
it all
circle.
happened.
It's amazing. And then, and I would do all these courses and whatever in the daytime, and I did community TV, and I worked for free, and I was a maniac. I basically would get up at 4, I'd train clients, and I managed to get this job at Sydney Weekender, which is like a New South Wales based travel show.
Yeah.
And I would get up at 4, I would train my clients until kind of 8. I'd drive an hour to the studio. I worked for free, I wasn't on TV, I just did researching.
Yeah.
And I worked for free for like a year. And like I remember one day Al, my boss, saying to me, are we paying? We're not, we're not paying you. And I was like, oh, I know. I was like 9 months in, and he was like, oh my God, like I came 5 days a week and I gave it everything. And I was like, I don't care, I'm learning.
Without even giving you advice right now, even me just sitting here, you are like, if you have a dream, go for it.
Totally.
Make it work. Put in the
Totally.
hours. You might have to do your side hustles to fund what you're doing,
Yes.
but look at you now.
Yeah, and be
Like,
patient. I think you have to be. I was like, I'm all about the end game. I'm like long term. I'm like, I will,
work my
I will-
balls
yeah,
off to
yeah,
get
yeah.
to that point.
I just keep going until it happens. It's kind of simple. In a way, it's kind of simple.
And were you
know?
trying for babies then? Or?
Yeah, we were. We tried, I think, for about 6 or 7 years to have Annabelle. It was crazy. We
This
tried
is something
for
I didn't
so
know
long.
as well. So
Yeah.
Maha and I were talking earlier about sort of your journey.
The thing was, there was nothing wrong technically with either of us, and in a way that made it worse because I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me and there's nothing wrong with you, and the guy was like, it's just unexplained
meant to have
infertility.
babies,
Yeah. And it was tough because at the time I didn't know anyone who'd done IVF. IVF wasn't really spoken about. It was a sprinkling of like a Hollywood celebrity, but like it wasn't common like it is now. So I felt deep shame. I felt deep failure on my part. And everyone else was having babies easily. So I was like, I don't get
And your
what's
mum
happening
had
here.
babies easily,
Yeah,
didn't
my
she?
mum had babies easily. So I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. And Marcus was saying to me, we should do IVF, but I could not get my head around it. I couldn't. I just was like, I tried everything. I was like, I'll go get this special watch from LA, and it's got this special thing that measures your sweat, and if it measures your sweat, like just all these random, like
I only tried for Blake for 6 months, and it consumed me.
It consumes you.
And it also just, it nearly broke me. Like, I know it sounds so stupid, but I kept saying, what is wrong with my body?
That's
Like,
right.
what is wrong with me? Like, why
Because
can't I bear a child?
you're always told, like, basically, that's what you can do. And so then when you can't, I'm
I'm
like
on
other
a pill at 16 to not have kids, and you're trying to
Everyone's
have
like, be
kids.
careful, be
I
careful.
know.
You're like, oh.
Like, penis, I'm going to be pregnant. But, like, it's like, no.
It's actually quite hard,
Yeah.
And I
is
think
hard.
too, because unlike other areas of your life, you're like, if I work hard at this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. But here it's like, well, you can do it all as many times as you want, but there is like some sort of sprinkling of I don't know what. And it's like, if it's not meant to be, it just doesn't be, So I found it hard to get my head around, I need help.
Yeah.
It really took me a long time.
And how did you get to that point? How did you get to the IVF journey?
I think eventually, after almost like 6.5 years, I was like, if I am going to be so stubborn, I may miss out. I think is where it got to. And
how
at the
old
time,
were you at this point? Can I ask?
So I was 37.
age will be some questions I get. Okay.
I must have been. It's at the time I was working at Today Tonight. I was an entertainment reporter, and I travelled a lot. And I was off on this 2-week trip, and I said to Marcus, you know what? I'm going to go and buy all the IVF books, and I'm going to, on this 2-week trip, because I'll be by myself at night, so I'm going to, I think, try and just see if I can get myself to accept that I need the help. And I went on this trip to Mexico. And I rang halfway and I was like, okay, I'm on board. I need to, it's almost like I needed to get out of my own way.
But also I feel like you're such a researcher, you're such a, even with like your job and your career, like you are that end game. And so you almost needed to to know there was an end game.
That's right.
Yeah,
I needed
get on that
to
journey.
put my ego aside, and not feel bad about needing help. I needed to just go, you know what, so I need help. It's okay.
Put your
It's
hands
not-
up in there. And you desperately obviously wanted to be a mum.
Yeah, I desperately wanted to be a mum. So we were like, okay, I think that was in the June, and we were like, okay, why don't we see out the year and then we'll start in the beginning of the year. And we did.
And how did you find the process?
You know what? It was okay.
Yeah?
I actually found it okay. Having said that, as a disclaimer, I only did one cycle.
Okay.
So I think that's really important. I think I would probably have a very different perspective
But
if I
isn't
did.
that crazy? You couldn't fall pregnant, and then it gets like.
I know, but you know, I think
Crazy.
it's all. I really do believe everything's meant to be, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was meant to only probably do one cycle because I had the cancer, and you know, who knows had I done multiple cycles, like, you know, it's all part of a.
Your Annabelle was meant to be your Annabelle.
Yeah.
And it was meant to come about the way it did. And
Yes.
how blessed you are to have your beautiful girl.
Unbelievable.
And to have done that cycle, we're going to get into it, but the egg that you actually used, or the embryo you used, is now you're running around a list.
Yeah,
which is
that's right.
so cool.
Yeah.
But can we talk about, so was your pregnancy, how was your pregnancy with Annabelle?
It was fine. I had a dream run, so that I felt like the IVF cycle was really quite manageable. I kind of didn't have any crazy mood swings or anything. I was sort of fine. I worked through it. I couldn't believe it worked the first time, though. I was fully prepared to do like 3, 4, 5, 6, however many cycles it took. So when she said to me it worked, I was like,
what the?
Oh,
how cool.
wow.
That's the best news ever.
Yeah, it was amazing.
baby in your
And
belly.
it was the best pregnancy. I had heaps of energy. I felt really well. I worked all the way up until I think maybe a week before I gave birth. I just I was so happy. I was so happy, you know.
The universe knew you needed that because of what was.
That's right. I needed that amazing pregnancy.
How soon after Annabelle was earthside in your arms did you get the devastating
So
diagnosis?
I found out the day before she was born. So I was at a routine checkup with my obstetrician. I know.
I'm the one crying. Okay.
It's shit. It's just, there's no other way about it.
Yeah.
I was at a routine appointment with my obstetrician, and I had felt the lump, but I thought it was blocked milk ducts, right? And I'd been saying to Marcus, I can this lump, and he's like, oh, it must be maybe your body's getting ready for breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And it had actually been there probably for maybe a couple of months, and I'd been dismissing it, and I kept meaning to tell my obstetrician but kept forgetting. And on this day, so I was past my due date, and I said to him, listen, I've got this, and I'd finished my appointment, I'm leaving. And I looked down the corridor, and there's all these people waiting for their appointment. And I was like, oh, Stephen, when I come back in a couple of days, remind me to tell you or show you that I've got this lump in my breast. And he was like, oh no, you'll show me now. And I was like, no, because like all these people are waiting for their appointment.
So
I don't want them to be
kind,
late, you know. It was like, right this second, in you come, and like literally dragged me back in, had a feel, and said, you know, I think I know this person at the clinic, and we'll send you down for a scan tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I was so happy and so like,
you're about to have it. You're literally about to have a baby.
I'm in a bubble. I don't think anything. I go out to reception, and Lex, his receptionist, is on the phone screaming at the clinic, I need an appointment for tomorrow. And I'm like, they're so nice here. They're so
They're
sweet.
getting me in so quick.
The service here is beautiful.
Shit.
And I can
That
hear
was
the woman
bad.
saying, I've got nothing for 2 weeks, and her screaming, I want it in the morning. And I was like, oh, I would be telling everyone how good the service is here. They really care. Like a dummy. Like, just no idea. Go home.
But they
And
obviously were protecting you as well.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Stephen said to me, he said, I knew. He said to me afterwards, he said, the minute I felt it, I knew, you know.
Oh my God.
And so off I went in the morning. Marcus said, do you want me to come with you? I was like, no, I don't think I need to. It's fine. And I went to my appointment. I got there at 9. I was still there at 4. Everyone had been and gone. I was still there, and I still at that point didn't think anything was wrong, you know. And then at about 4:30, they were like, you know what, why don't we get Marcus down here? It's been a really long day. And I was like, yes, it has been really long. Yes, I have been here ages. And, you know, and then...
Did alarm bells go off?
No.
Yeah.
I've got no cancer in my family. I felt amazing.
You were overdue at this point, weren't you?
I'm overdue. I'm just, I don't know. I just had no idea, you know.
So Marcus
came, and then they sat us down and they said, I'm really sorry, but you've got stage 3 breast cancer. It's super advanced. It's super aggressive. We've already spoken to your obstetrician. You basically have to have this baby tomorrow, and you probably will need chemo within the week. I was like,
oh my God.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was real. And then they're like, no guarantees. You might not live.
Oh my God.
It was really bad. It's really...
You go from literally the most exciting, about to birth your baby, to you might not be able to ever be a mum.
That was the worst part the whole time, was like, if I don't live to see her grow, if I don't live to, you know, and that's the worst part. That's the part that I think I really felt it too when Alyssa came. It really took me back to what I didn't have with Annabelle. That was really hard. You know, it was really kind of like, wow.
You were so
I really
sick.
missed a lot. I really missed a lot, yeah.
So did you deliver her did you?
Yeah, I had to.
You had
so
to.
basically the rule was I had to deliver her naturally, no surgery, because I had to start chemo straight away. And obviously when you do chemo, it stops your body from healing. And so they were like, you have to. And at one point I was like, I can't. You know, I was hysterical, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to muscle up, the strength to, you know, get through. It was like a 36-hour labour.
Jesus Christ.
And I know.
Thank you, God.
Yeah. So for people who are like, I had her in 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my God.
F you.
Yeah. And I just, it was...
And did you, this is such a, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but when she was born, they always put them...
Yeah. So they put her on me. But there was no breastfeeding. There was so there was lots of skin to skin, but it was very tainted. Like, it was very beautiful, but very tainted, because it's tainted by fear and the unknown. And, you know, at that point, we'd obviously had told our parents, but we hadn't yes, no, I told her that night, definitely. We hadn't sort of told anyone else, and it was just really...
hard.
It's really hard.
It's such can I say a mindfuck? Like, you've got the most incredible, you've just given birth to the baby you had waited so long for, your beautiful girl, and now you've got to go jumping into chemo. Can't breastfeed, can't anything, all the stuff you thought about.
That week at the hospital, like the week that I was there, I had this room at the end of the corridor, and I would walk down the corridor just bawling my eyes out, and I'd walk past all these rooms, and everyone would be happy, and they'd be bringing flowers, and there'd be people visiting with balloons, and I would have just come back from a CAT scan, or I've just come back from a scan for my back where they're looking for if the cancer's spread, or I've, you know, like just all this stuff, and I felt so bad. The maternity ward's the happy ward, you know, it's like that's why everyone wants to work there. It's so beautiful, and I felt like it was just and it's a massive trigger for me when I go there. Like, lots of my friends give birth in the same hospital. Yeah. And you know, once I leave, I generally tend to get in the lift. I'm like, oh my God, I bawl my eyes out because it's so traumatic.
It's triggering. It's such a hard thing, because you also had your girl, but you had so much going on. Like,
it was tough.
I can't even imagine.
It was it was shit. You know.
And going through treatment with a new baby, was Marcus, Maha, your family, everyone. Having a new baby is so hard.
I know.
And you were so sick.
I know. It was really, two things. Everyone rallied around me and gave me lots of love and support. So Marcus, Maha, my parents were amazing. My girlfriends were amazing. I was the beneficiary of a lot of love and support from the public, which I feel eternally grateful for, because I do feel like that, you know, having people, whether they know you or not, you know, kind of love you and pray for you and cheer you on, has, I don't know, some kind of like X factor, you know, element to the process. I feel like there's science.
You had a community.
Yeah, I feel like there's science, and you know, you have to do the kind of the chemo and the surgery, but I feel like there's a part of, I don't know, this feeling of love when people send it your way. It also helps you when you're not strong enough to keep going, because there's plenty of times I was like, like, you're broken. I mean, chemo beyond breaks you. Particularly, I had such a, I have like a triple negative cancer, and so the chemo for it is a really old school one. It's like from the 70s. It's like the one that completely breaks you. And there were days I was like, I'm on my knees. I'm crawling to Annabelle's room. Crawling.
You're so sick.
I'm so sick, but it's like, I want to see you, you know. I don't want anyone else to go to you. But
no, because you're her mama.
I'm her mama. You know?
Breaks my heart. And you just are insane. Did you know, so you're into recovery, because you're in recovery, right?
Yeah.
You are clear?
I'm all done now, At the 5-year mark, they say you're kind of in remission, but I think it's one of those things that stays with you, that kind of, we call it scanxiety, you know, the anxiety about scans. You know, it stays with you because you have in a way, you have no faith in your body anymore. And it's a funny thing that happens, because before, you know, you felt well. You know, so you're like, oh, it's not like the flu. You're like, oh, I had a temperature and then I got the flu. You're like, yeah, you can see things coming. Here it's like, I liken it to kind of skipping through a field of daisies and getting shot from behind. Like you don't see it coming, and your body kind of, it failed you in a sense. Like, not that it did, but like you feel like it did because
story, totally.
Like you're like, oh, but I feel well. So therefore, even though I feel well now, you're always like slightly in the back of your mind every now and then. You'll be like,
is it something? Are you one of those people now, if you feel something, you just will go?
Yeah, I definitely will go. Yeah, definitely. But you still, I mean, the thing is you don't feel cancer, and that's the problem, you know. You don't know, and they were saying to me, I've not gone, I always say to Stephen, my obstetrician, he completely saved my life, that I would have been dead in 3 months.
Jesus Christ. So your odds to be here were not in your favour?
At all. At all.
I feel like I was talking to Maha before about the cancer, and we both got a little bit teary about it, but she said almost you being sick, in a way she didn't say it in these words, but what I took from it was it's changed your whole perspective.
Completely.
And for the better.
Completely. Whole perspective, whole relationship, all my relationships with everyone. It's changed everything
too, I imagine.
Completely.
Every day is so important.
Completely. Everything is just different because I think before that it's like, well, I'll live to 95, I'll be a great grandma, I'll be on a rocking chair on the veranda, and then when that happens, you're like, oh, actually, I might not be. Like, there are no givens here. You know, actually every day is a gift, and I very much treat it like that way.
So you're in recovery, you have your beautiful Annabelle. Did you always know you wanted a sibling?
Yes.
Did you know you couldn't?
Yeah, I couldn't carry. So basically after I did all my chemo and radiation and, 5 or 6 surgeries, and it was all kind of clear, it was a huge relief. And we're like, and we didn't sort of talk about wanting to have another baby for a while, but it was definitely there. Like once I think I felt like I could breathe again and I could actually just live.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I have this overwhelming urge for another baby. And my obstetrician was like, you can't carry another child, because if for any reason in the first 5 years that your cancer comes back, then you don't want to be pregnant and having to do chemo. And I was in this, years 3 and 4 particularly are quite high risk years for the kind of cancer that I had. And plus on top of that, to a lesser extent, but also I had this kind of, as part of the reconstruction, they take all the tissue from your stomach and they put this kind of mesh panel in and all this kind of stuff. So they're like, also not ideal. And, so it was kind of just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, for a long time I was like, let's just sit on it. Maybe the feeling will go away. Maybe, but it just never did for both of us. We both were like, we want another baby. We just feel like we're not done yet, But that's why, in a way, looking back, it's like a miracle that we did IVF, because that's what allowed us to have the embryos.
Wow.
Yeah.
I say eggs, embryos. I'm so horrible with all the wording.
Well, and it was a miracle, I think, too, because we did the egg cycle, the embryo cycle, and Annabelle worked. She was literally the first embryo that they put in, and it worked, meant that there was 4 left.
So you got 5.
We had 5 embryos. Annabelle was 1, and there was 4 left. And it was like, oh well, we have those embryos. They're just waiting. I just can't carry. So it's funny, there's that quote, you can only live your life forwards, but you can only really evaluate it looking backwards. And I really feel like that's like, I couldn't fall pregnant naturally, but maybe that's a blessing, because had I gotten sick, then I wouldn't have had Alyssa. So it's like I had to do IVF.
You probably wouldn't have Swish.
Like you just, it's so,
the beauty of hindsight, isn't it?
I was very fortunate that somebody that I knew put me in touch with an agency in the States, and that kind of just got the ball rolling for me. But it's very complicated here, and I don't want to go into the legals of it, because it varies from state to state, and that's part of it. I won't bore you with the legal jargon, but that is overridingly one of the biggest problems, I think, in Australia with fertility laws. I do think they are still far too backwards. So I was like, well, you know what, I'm getting on in age. I don't know anyone who is going to choose to be a surrogate for me. People are like, well, why don't you get your sister to do it? It's like, well, I would never ask my sister to have her first experience of having a baby being mine. That is just not the right thing to do. You know, I want her to experience what it's like for her to have her own baby,
Yeah.
you know.
I love that.
So, yeah, and so I was like, well, I don't know anyone, and like everyone I know is my age, which is like 40, so it's like, well, that's also not the right age for a surrogate. So I was like, I'm not going to faff around with this for years on end. Having learnt from my IVF experience, I was like, I'm not going to let this take 6 or 7 years. And so someone put me in touch with, it's called Growing Generations, this agency in the States, and they were amazing. And it was just, sometimes I think if you just let somebody lead you down the path and they are like...
You put your faith in
Yeah,
them.
just if they go, okay, this is what we do, we've done it before. You do this, 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 you go here, you go there.
Did the little embryo get taken?
They get taken.
That's on a little vein?
There's a guy, and this is the thing, when you are not... So, you know, I think, oh my gosh, no one's ever done this before. And then you go down the path and they're like, oh no, we have the embryo courier. I'm like, you have an embryo courier? They're like, oh no, and then you'll speak to somebody else. I'll be like, oh, did you use him too?
Did you get to pick your surrogate?
Yeah, you get to pick your surrogate. And it's a big deal picking your surrogate, I think. I think it's, it depends what kind of relationship you want. It's like, do I want somebody to be, is it just transactional and I'm happy to never speak to them again? That's fine. They can find you that kind of surrogate, or you can choose that kind of surrogate. Or do you want to have somebody who you stay attached with and bonded with? And for Marcus and I, we really wanted that. We wanted to be able to say to Alyssa, which we say to her now, you know, because we don't want it to be like, oh, we'll sit you down at 16 and be like, hey, surprise. You know, so it's like we say it all the time now. You know, Annabelle was in Mummy's tummy, but you're in Mummy's heart. You're in Rachel's tummy, you know. So we tell her.
So she's biologically 100%.
She's ours, yeah. Even though when she's really badly behaved, I say she's all Marcus. But yes.
She looks like Marcus, so don't you
She's
think?
all Marcus.
Yeah, okay.
She's all
and Annabelle
Marcus.
is all you.
But now, in the beginning, she was all Marcus as well. Now she's like morphed into, I think, more my colouring and more my kind of...
Even her mannerisms on the Instagram, like I feel is quite similar to you.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is.
that.
It is really cute. But yeah, it's...
And you, with your first, because you had 2 embryos in, implanted?
Yeah, we had, so we had them one at a time
Yeah.
put in, and the first one that went in took, and so we were like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And then at 11 weeks, we're at a routine scan on a FaceTime with Rachel, our surrogate. It was Maha and I and Annabelle in a coffee shop, and because you know we'd already had like heaps of
So cool that Annabelle was involved. You know, like you could see it from afar. That's amazing.
From the beginning, we were like, we're gonna try and have a sister or a brother for you, but Mummy's not gonna carry it. Rachel, and we FaceTimed with Rachel, and Rachel had 3 kids. They're all Annabelle's age, 3 girls, and so they were very bonded and very close. And we went over there to meet them, and we went there for the first transfer, and she was part of it. She understood what was happening. And so we're on this sort of routine FaceTime, just having her 11-week scan, and everything's great. And then the doctor says, oh, there's no more heartbeat. We're like, oh, yeah. Devastated. We were completely broken.
Yeah.
So shit, you know.
Oh, why am I the one crying this whole thing?
I know, I think I've cried.
No.
I have cried about this stuff,
Oh.
like more than is even...
I was crying writing these questions
Oh.
though. Like, to think what you've been through and to where you are now, like it's such an insane journey.
It's crazy.
It's an insane
crazy.
journey.
It's not what I thought was going to happen in my life. But,
No. And how did you, with little Annabelle there?
So she didn't really understand what had happened, and she didn't really...
Ask
It's funny, she was sort of, I think, she must have been 3 then.
Oh,
so she was little enough to be like excited
Heidi
that
would
there
have no
was a
idea.
baby, but
Yeah.
then like had sort of forgotten that there was no more baby.
Yeah.
It was really tough though, because I also felt like I wasn't there with Rachel. Like that's where I think the issue of distance comes into play at different times, and that's definitely one of them, because it's like, well, I can't be there. I was kind of trying to mourn what had happened, you know, kind of via distance, and I don't know, it was all kind of, it was really rough. So we
rough.
kind of recovered, and we tried again, and the next one didn't take, and then
Oh God.
we got 2 left, and Marcus's mum was really sick, and at the time, and didn't seem like she had kind of too long left, so we wanted to have a bit of a break. And Rachel, our surrogate, was amazing. She was like, I'll wait, if you want another surrogate, get another surrogate, because people were saying to me, not so much at the second, at the one after that, when there was 3, we tried another embryo, and it didn't take, and there was 1 left. And then a lot of people were saying to me, I don't think you should use the same surrogate, maybe you should get another surrogate. And
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
yeah, it was hard. And Rachel is the most amazing. She's a nurse in a neonatal ward. She's had 3 of her own kids. She had another one after Alyssa.
Whoa.
She'd already been a surrogate for somebody else before.
Mum.
She's so beautiful.
Yep.
She's literally an angel. Scott, her husband's amazing. And
There was love there.
There was so much love there. And she said to me, if you want to get another surrogate, all I want is to see you guys complete your family. Whatever you want to do, I don't mind. And I said to Marcus, I know that perhaps logically the thing to do would be to get another surrogate because, 3 haven't worked and there's only 1 left, and after this, and it was not like I could do another egg cycle or anything like that. It's like, this is it. I was like, but my heart of hearts, this is actually my journey with Rachel. I actually feel so deeply, and I still do, feel so deeply connected to her in this path to motherhood. I feel like in a way, not that it wasn't Marcus and mine, but it was Marcus and mine and Rachel and Scott's. It was like 2 families. I really feel,
and
I was
forever
like,
be connected, no matter where you guys go or whether you speak or whatever.
Forever. I was like, if it doesn't work, then it's not meant to be. But I want to see this out with her. She, for 2 years, their entire family had put their life on hold. And so they can't. And it's sort of, you forget what it's like for somebody on the other side. The kids had wanted to go to Disneyland for a couple of years, and she's like, well, I can't because I've committed to Sal and Marcus. And, we want to have a break in the middle. Marcus's mum's not well. You do a cycle, it doesn't work. They want her to have a break from the drugs. So there's a long period of time to be trying, 2 years, and she's waiting. And it's like, I'm doing this with you all the way to the end. And then
she's clearly a very special woman.
She's so special.
And you're very special to also,
Oh, it was, So we did the last one, and
look at her now.
Ball
Racing around.
A ball of sash.
She's so cute. She's so cute. Even just through Instagram, she's the sweetest. She seems like she's just got so much personality in that little body of hers.
A lot of personality.
And the birthing experience, you went over. Maha was there.
Yes, Annabelle was there.
Marcus
stayed because he was at work.
Yep.
So he FaceTimed in. It was crazy with my
so
mum.
Cool. The modern
I
family.
know. It was insane. And Rachel is one of these people who has really easy births, like in 20 minutes, So, yeah.
Bitch would love her for it.
Oh my God. So easy, know, and it was spectacular. It was just so beautiful. And that's the thing I say to people about surrogacy. I mean, I can't comment on what it's like here, but in the States, they understand this is your child. The surrogate is, the oven, literally. And so it's not like anyone sort of speaking to the surrogate and going, oh, by the way, what do you need? It's like, you're the mum. This is all about you. So when the baby comes out, do you want to cut the cord? It's straight to you. So it's not, so there's no question.
Because that is your baby. It doesn't matter. And that's exactly right.
Baby.
There's so many things as well. Sometimes people carry their own children, biological own children, but they don't raise them.
That's right.
And the people that raise them are their parents.
That's right.
And
that's right.
It's just this whole, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
You could have your beautiful girl and you've got such a beautiful relationship with the woman who had the blessing of being able to carry her.
Yeah.
Her body was meant to do that.
That's right. That's her. And she's always saying, that was what I want to do. That's
now
what
she's
I
got
do.
4.
She has 4.
I wonder, is she done? Don't know.
I don't know. She's the best mother. She's so patient.
Oh, I love that. And let's take your mum hat off. We're going to go into Swish. So Maha's told us about the sort of a who, what, when, where, why kind of stuff. But for you, did all the wellness stuff, was this, I know, tell us a bit about Swish actually.
So,
in case I didn't watch Maha.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Go watch it. Yeah. For us, so Swish is basically, we're an e-com site and we're a website and we make our own, basically our whole mission is about helping women feel amazing inside and out. That's what we live and live for. I was going to live and die for.
Live and breathe.
Live and breathe for. That's right.
Got to keep breathing.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my goodness.
And so we want people to feel good inside, because I think if you feel good on the inside, you'll take care of the outside, or if you feel good on the outside, it'll help you take care of the inside. They go hand in hand. And for us, it's about women, because women look after everyone else. We're the nurturers, we're the carers, we're also unfortunately the last to look after ourselves, so it's like, if we can help you guys fast, easy, nothing too complicated, nothing too difficult, because everyone's, I think, got a very busy, very full life,
Yeah.
then that is our mission, you know. So we do our own wellness products, we do our own fashion, we do, you know, kind of beauty, clean living, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we filmed it all. So you've got the most amazing cookbooks. You've got your smoothie book. You're doing another book.
Yeah.
Can I talk about that?
Yeah, it's
okay.
out in October 1.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. And the
October
clothes
1.
are beautiful. This is yours.
This is ours.
Maha wore one.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
just looking through. It's the most incredible stuff. And I think it is so true. Like being in the women's space for, I've only been in it 6 years, but it feels like my whole life. Kind of is my whole life. My whole career, I should say. It's crazy how what you fuel your body with and what you sometimes can put on the outside. Sometimes I feel like shit.
Yes.
And I will put my makeup on and do my hair and I'm like, I feel really
It's
good.
okay, right?
Some
Yeah.
days I look like shit, but I feel amazing because I've drunk my collagen.
That's it.
And it's just that cycle of like what you need. It's just the whole looking after
It's
us.
just looking after ourselves.
Modern wellness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. In ways that are easy. I think that's important. You know, so that's, I think having cancer, I mean, I was obviously already into it. I mean, as I said, I did 2 years of a naturopathy degree.
But kind of not knowing that was your future, right?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. I had no idea that all of that would pan out, and now here I am back again. But yeah, after being sick, I was like, you know what, I need to rebuild from the bottom up, and I guess that's what triggered the whole smoothies were not done at that point.
I still
you
use
know?
your smoothie
You
book.
still use it?
Yeah, I love
amazing.
it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just, always flick through because smoothies I have every day and I just get bored of them.
Yeah.
So it's good to just have somewhere I can look and flick
so
through.
good.
And they're pretty simple.
They're simple, they're efficient, they
Tastes
get
good.
the job done,
Yeah.
and you feel amazing. And that's the thing.
Elise and I are big smoothie drinkers. We always say if we're going to have a smoothie, sometimes we're so time poor, but just cram all the goodness
Yeah.
in, make it taste as good as
Yeah.
you can, and
Yes.
then you've just done good for yourself.
Yeah,
and
it
you feel
feels good. 30 seconds of self-care is what we call them.
I
you know.
love that. But we're going to leave it there. We've spoken for forever. I've heard the cameras go off twice. But we're going to leave it there. And thank you so much.
you for having
You're
me.
amazing.
Thank you.
Make sure you
It's
follow
nice.
Swish and Sally on Instagram. You can subscribe, can't you?
You
Because I
can
get all your
subscribe,
emails.
yeah, please subscribe so you can get all the kind of Wellness Wednesday info. You can be part of...
You're doing more lives?
More lives, heaps more
That was
lives.
awesome the other day.
Yeah, heaps more lives, the hormones, mood, fertility, the whole lot. There's stuff that we all want to know about.
It's
you
the
know?
stuff everyone needs to know about as women, and it's some of the stuff we just don't talk about.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that's crucial.
It's nice.
So this is Sal.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you.
Mwah.
You are amazing.
Thank you.
That was the amazing Sally. Thanks again to Janaea for making today's video possible. Remember, if you or someone you know is struggling with fertility, reach out. You have everything and more to gain. Janaea's contact details are linked down below. Be sure to head to our podcast as we alternate content between YouTube and the podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. We'll see you here on YouTube in 2 weeks.